Cheap $100,000 homes. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I've got my morning stein of coffee that I'm still working through, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from the ABC. Emma and Andrew built their homes for $100K. Here's how they did it. Now, I got as an architect, this interested me, but what really got me interested was Andrew Kerr, the architect here. I know him from the Tasmanian States of Mind conference I went to as a student. He helped organize it. So I need to get in touch with him and see how he's going. I haven't seen him for a few years. But it's just interesting to see these types of houses that, well, I would say are glorified granny flats, to be honest. There's another way, and it's an interesting idea. Now, before we go through this article, I'm just going to jump to a video here I did back in May 2017, and you can see, oh, you can't see my face there. There you go, with the old beard I had. This is one of the earliest videos I did, and the idea I put forward to people was to buy some of the surplus mining stock as a way to start a house. Because here you could get, completely fully furnished little dongers for only about 20 grand, even less. And then you just get it delivered to your house, and depending on the location. And I just looked, went through some concepts here, and I'll just play that, of how you combine different ones together as a way of starting a home. As a way of starting a home and just looking at some of these ideas. So guys, check that video out if you haven't seen it, if only to see my beard and the children invade me at another time. So yeah, I think there's definitely opportunities for cheap housing, but let's have a look at what these people have done. So Emma and Andrew built their homes for $100,000. Here's how they did it. Now I can tell you right away, this 100 grand does not include the cost of land or other fees. So when Emma Honan found herself in a house bind, she wasn't like most people trying to enter the market. Miss Honan already owned her home, but a relationship breakdown meant she could no longer afford to live in the house and make her repayments. Three months was the longest I had to financially be able to cover the mortgage, she said. Faced with the task of finding a new living situation for herself and 2 young children, she decided to rent out her existing home and use her equity to build a second, smaller dwelling at the back of her property. Her budget was just $100,000 and her timeline was 12 weeks. I mean, that's insane. That is crazy. Okay, here we're seeing images of Andrew's house down in Tasmania. And so this is Emma saved money by designing the house herself. So this is her. Is this her house? Or is that Andrew's house? This looks like it's her house as opposed to Andrew's. But it's not. It's only 1 bedroom, guys. You can't have it with 2 young kids for very long, can you? Can you? But it was that very restriction that helped her getting things moving fast. Well, that's a good point. Sometimes you need the pressure to make achievements, to force you to do things. So yeah, this is her house here. I just started thinking about what I needed and got really clear on that, but also really thinking about what I didn't need, she said. Now that's a very good takeaway there, because people will, I know, designing houses for people, and they will get these huge amounts of storage and spend thousands of dollars in construction costs just building storage space to store cheap plastic crap they get from IKEA or a Christmas tree they never use, all this other rubbish. And it really is an embodiment of the old materialistic society, consumerist society we're living in now. Because 1 bedroom, this is what I would call a starter house. I would call these starter houses, and this is what people used to do. They'd buy a very small house and then they would just extend onto it, a workers' cottage. You could get a bunk bed in the living room for the kids, be fine. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world at all. So she had some previous renovating experience, sketched her own simple designs, and found almost all of her materials, including hardwood timber, bearers, joists, floorboards, weatherboards, and windows, from a demolition site. That was about $15,000 worth of materials that we got in the end for $3,000, she said. I mean, see, that is a fantastic find. That's luck. Or that's luck or that's experience. Everyone can't count on that. And you'll see this happening in these type of things. This isn't going to be the solution for we can't mass produce houses from demolition work or from freebies that people get. So that has to be taken into account. There's a lot of recycle centers in most small cities and in most small towns, and the local council tips will have recycled doors and windows. I think a lot of people are doing that now. Well, if I go to the places that sell old Queenslander doors and windows, they're bloody expensive, guys, here in Queensland. You've got to pay a lot to get them. Even at the recycling place, you can pay $500 for a door. So there you go. I've just ordered a new window for our bathroom, and that alone cost me $450. So I think a lot of people are doing that now. It adds character to your build, as well it makes it more affordable and more responsible. Well, yeah, I mean, it is smart to reuse stuff. It certainly is. Nothing wrong with it. The only problem with weatherboard is you want to make sure you're not buying a whole bunch of lead paint covered weatherboard that you have to reseal and some of these contaminants. So there's things you need to check when you're looking at recycling products. So Jenny has one child. 1-year-old child share a bedroom. 8-year-old has their own bedroom nook. Okay, so that's how she's dealing with it. So this is going to not be possible when the 1-year-old gets older and she's getting teenagers. She may have to extend it, but there will be size limitations to what you can do with council. So she's 12.5 by what's that? 1.6, so 3 meters. So yeah, she may not be able to extend it. By then, times will change. She hired a builder to work on more complex designs, but got involved with simpler tasks such as denailing and stripping off paint. So there you go, she had to strip the paint. That's not fun. I've just done that to a few walls at my house. I loved being around the building, watching what they were doing, asking a million questions, driving them nuts, she said. She says she made a few mistakes that I would do differently, namely putting wooden floorboards in the bathroom, which he said turned out to be impractical for a wet space. Yes, yeah, that's it. So she saved money by doing her design and project management. She carried out her own unskilled labor, used second-hand materials, with help from friends. So can everyone do that, guys? Overall, I'm really happy. It's a great space, she said. So, I mean, fantastic. It's good. Good on her. And it's smart. So here we go. Let's have a look at all Andrew, how he's going. With the idea of building a home for $100,000 may seem out of reach, in southern Tasmania, Andrew Kerr has pulled off a similar feat. So yes, but see, this is the thing. Whenever architects do something like that, and Rachel was going to me, it's probably because architects can only afford to build a dirt cheap house. Mr. Kerr, an architect, has spent $75,000 on a block of land a few years earlier, but with an end to the first home builder's grant looming, he decided to build his own home. Because I was an emerging architect and a part-time tour guide, that prompted me to build something I could afford, and also that would allow me to continue to travel and not have been encumbered with a large mortgage, Mr. Kerr said. Well, yeah, I mean, that knowing him, that's not surprising at all. That's not surprising at all. Young and single. Now, here's the thing I'm gonna challenge to that, because he ain't that much younger than me, if at all. And I wouldn't say he's young. I would not say he's young. When you're getting on when 40s are approaching closer, guys, that's not young. I'm sure some of the viewers would say, yep, that's bloody young. Fantastic. Please let me know in the comments. But yeah, he didn't want to need a large house, so he settled on a design of 61 square meters. So this, I would call, this is the ultimate bachelor pad and the ultimate MGTOW house, guys. So this is the thing. I know we've got, Charles is always saying he wants his tiny houses. Mate, have a look at ways of getting a granny flat on a house, renting out the front one and living on something like this. You can do it. You can do it. And whereas opposed to a tiny house, these are real houses. The tiny houses are glorified caravans, and they've got some health and safety issues with them where you can't really age in place. Where with this, Andrew, he could age in place here. He could age in place. It's all on one level. It may get a bit tight in certain areas, but probably be fine. You wouldn't take much to widen these doors if you had to. You could age in place in this house. I mainly just focused on my immediate needs, so that meant keeping the footprint small, he said. Every square meter costs money, so if you can save building space you don't need, that saves money as well. And that is that's the fundamental point. It's a beautiful little house he's got. He's got a water tank, he's got his panels on the roof. I mean, there you go. Nice, simple. Mr. Kerr set himself a goal to build an efficient, well-designed home for $60-something thousand, or less than 70 grand. He hired a local builder and paid for trades and services, but did a lot of the unskilled labor himself. Most of the cost cutting came from the home's small size, and Mr. Kerr's use of locally sourced and recycled materials. He saved about $500 by using seconds and offcuts for a multicolored roof and managed to get 4 large double-glazed window units for free. That is a huge saving right there, guys. The fact that he managed to pull off those double-glazed windows for free, that is a lot of money. They are not cheap. The windows are quite complicated. Because these are lovely windows. I can just tell by looking at them. I literally, our daughter's just smashed through, and this is another point I'm going to raise. She just smashed through one of our back doors, so I've got to reglaze an old timber window. So I've got to learn a new skill. And there's one similarity. I mean, the lady, she's got 2 kids, so this is obviously staged. You can't keep it this clean with 2 children. I don't care what anyone says. That's just a fantasy. That's just a fantasy. I mean, where are all the toys? Come on. You'd have to run a bloody tight ship. I guess we let ours free roam a bit more. I mean, look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy. He's living like a student with a nice student pad, mate. You can't have that with children. All those books there are, at risk. Mr. Kerr used timber milled on site, which slowed down the construction timeline but saved a lot of money. Using some of the recycled materials, like the bricks inside, also added an extra texture or warmth to the building that you wouldn't get with new products, he said. I quite enjoy looking for some things that would make it distinctively Tasmanian as well, like the hewn pine duck boards in the shower. So there you go. In the end, Andrew Kerr made some design decisions that pushed up the cost. I realized it was going to be quite a nice house, and I'd spend more time here than just a weekend shack. His total build price ended up being $103,000 plus about 30 grand to build a new driveway and connect services including power, a septic, and water tank. The total cost, including land, came under 200 grand, 210. Focusing on now. He said one of the biggest challenges was getting the bank on board. Banks generally like 3 or 4 bedroom houses because they're more resellable if you come under financial stress, so it was actually difficult to borrow a small amount of money, he said. Yes, and that just shows you. He's made a very good point there. While Mr. Kerr is an architect, he believes a cheap build will be within reach of plenty of Australians. I think something like this, a similar size, similar design, would be appropriate for many singles or couples, and likewise could be used as an ancillary unit or a granny flat. Exactly. I think a lot of people get carried away where they try to build something not just for now, but for all the various possibilities of the future. You can't design and factor in every possibility. You should focus on the now, or at least the immediate future. So yes, I mean, I'm just looking at this picture, and I'm incredibly jealous in some regards of just how ordered and clean it is. We have a house of 4 children, so you can imagine how difficult it is just to... I generally will sacrifice everything at this level, going, okay, only stuff that we don't mind the kids getting into, you allow them to get into. It's part of their development. You can watch them, but they'll get up to mischief, and they'll work together, and they'll play around. That's children, that's normal. So, I mean, he's got the ultimate bachelor pad. And well, let's see if he gets a wife and kids, what'll happen? How would you change this design? How could you extend it? I mean, where could you push out? You could probably, it depends, could you put another wing out here? You probably could, push out here, maybe separate it, get a walkway up here, build another wing here, 2 bedrooms. Could easily turn it into a 3-bedroom house, to be honest. Wouldn't take much. Depending on the land, though, that he's got there. But there's opportunities, and this is the thing with these type of homes. You probably couldn't, because that looks like the front of the house, but you know what I mean. There's ways to adapt to it, even if you got rid of the rainwater tank and extend that here, guys. Reconfigure the bathroom, find a way to do it, or even over here. Nothing stopping you having to go through an outdoor space that's covered to get to another wing. So the advantage of these type of houses is that they provide, a great, I call them a starter house. I call them a starter house. You need to plan how you could possibly extend it in the future if you need to, which isn't that difficult, particularly in a simple structure like this. You can add another wing on, and you're saving a lot of money. You're not going into bucket loads of debt. And just compare, you know, the lifestyle Andrew would have here to some people living in a tiny little shit box of a unit in Sydney. But I guess, yeah, no, I think I'd prefer that. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Would you like to live in one of these houses? Do you think it's possible to keep them this clean with children? Or is it a little granny flat? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the video. If you're a fan of this channel and want to help us create more, we have a Patreon where you can make a small monthly donation. We also have Amazon and eBay affiliate links where we receive a small commission every time you make a purchase. We have an affiliate relationship with Independent Reserve. Every time you make a trade, we receive a share of the trading fees. Doesn't cost you a cent extra. These are great ways for you to support a channel just with your day-to-day things that you do. And finally, we have our very own merchandise here at Heise Says, pocket squares that were handmade here in Queensland. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and I will talk to you all later. Bye for now.